Hey everyone, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home, and today I'm back with another 4K Blu-ray review of a very special limited edition all the way from Germany. So today we're going to be checking out the Texas Chain Saw Massacre 4K release from Turbine Media. I have one of their new special edition steelbooks. There's a set of, I believe, 4 with only 550 printed of each. So huge thanks to them for sending this to me so I could do this review for you all. Really cool to get something from overseas. I know a lot of you want me to cover more international 4K releases. So today we're taking a look at one that's only available in Germany right now, and that is the Texas Chain Saw Massacre. So for the purposes of this review, it's going to go head to head here against my own copy of the 40th anniversary Texas Chain Saw Massacre Blu-ray. This is from 2014, and it has an older 4K master that was supervised by Tobe Hooper. So we're going to go head to head with this release, which was one of the better horror movie 4K scans out there, especially considering the source. And we're going to see how much better, 16 millimeter and some really grainy footage can really look on 4K. So I just want to preface this review by giving you some background on the Texas Chain Saw Massacre. 1974 it was shot, almost 50 years old now, shot on 16 millimeter, so decent resolution, but really poor quality film. Poor kind of low budget cameras. I mean, it adds to the greatness of the Texas Chain Saw Massacre that it looks so low budget, almost like documentary style, that it feels so real. That's part of the horror. But it was never a movie that was going to look good on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K. I mean, it was never going to look perfect. The source limitations are there. The camera equipment and the film stock had limitations. The budget hurt. It is not the prettiest movie in the world. So when I'm doing this review, again, I'm not comparing this to like other 35 millimeter movies from the late 60s, early 70s. I'm not comparing it to other stuff from like Hitchcock's catalog that was even earlier. I'm truly just comparing it to itself because it's really unfair to try to stack it up to any of those others. So it's really all about, is it worth upgrading to 4K from your Blu-ray copy? Now, I did not get a chance to watch the 4K without Dolby Vision HDR. I did not have that copy in that previous master, but the screenshots that you will see here are sourced from that master. And so the screenshots are not a full representation of Dolby Vision and what this looks like on your TV at home. But to be honest, screenshots are always more as just comparison points, and they never truly fully show the benefits of HDR. So you always have to take them with a grain of salt. But this 4K release is pretty good. You do see some added detail, even though it is 16 millimeter, even though it is extremely grainy, you are going to see a little bit finer detail on 4K than with the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray was already excellent, and that probably will be good enough for most people. But if you want the absolute 100% best quality, the 4K is going to give you that. It is not a massive leap forward. It is not a dramatic difference, but it is a cleaner image that certainly resolves the grain a little bit better. Now, one of the interesting things for me is the color, and watching it with Dolby Vision HDR, I didn't see a massive difference in color versus what was available on the Blu-ray. And the Blu-ray in the 2014 restoration was color graded and restored with Tobe Hooper. So he had his say. He kind of graded it the way he wanted it to look. And I respect the fact that they didn't change that much. I will say that the Dolby Vision HDR definitely helps in some of the darker sequences when they're running through the woods at night, Leatherface is chasing them. That certainly looks a little bit better. It's a little bit, less washed out, much more black, a little bit deeper blacks. The contrast is better. Like, it helps in those areas. Some of the highlights, the red shorts on that famous shot that everybody shows from Texas Chainsaw, some of the blood is a little bit more high quality. For instance, I right on the opening scene, I never really noticed the blood on the armadillo before, and that stood out a little bit more to me with the HDR, with Dolby Vision. So it helps your high ends and your low ends. It helps your contrast a little bit. Definitely brightness and contrast are the biggest things here, but it doesn't dramatically change the look and feel of the movie, which I appreciate. So when it comes to 4K picture quality, it's probably going to be a tough sell for most people. This Blu-ray release here that I have, which is the 4K master, very, very good. A great release, by far the best the movie had ever looked at that point in time. And most likely, unless you are a serious AV fanatic, if you're just a horror collector and you're looking for a great version, that 40th anniversary 4K restoration on the 1080p Blu-ray, it's very good. You can't go wrong with that. But if you're a super fan of Texas Chainsaw, if you want to have the best version, if you want to have the best color, then yeah, you would go with the 4K release, and I don't think you can go wrong with it. It is super impressive how well they have restored this, considering its age, the budget at the time, the equipment, the source. It is really, really well done, and that translates well into 4K. You do have a true 4K restoration. It looks great on 4K. I just think it's going to be a tough sell for most people to be upgrading their Blu-rays. Now, if you don't have the 4K mastered Blu-ray and you have an older DVD or an older Blu-ray release, then one of these two is a must-have. You've either got to buy the Blu-ray 40th anniversary, or you've got to pick up this 4K release. One of the two has to be in your collection. They are both huge leaps forward over what was out there previously, both using that same restoration, which is incredible. Now, on the audio side of things, this is a new Dolby Atmos track, which is upgraded from the previously available 7.1. The 7.1 track, which is available on this Blu-ray, was supervised by Toby Hooper, and so he mixed that up to 7.1. Atmos takes it a step further. There are a couple of moments that I noticed where I was like, oh, that felt a little bit different. That's a little bit new. Some more nuance to the sound effects and things like that. The chainsaw still sounds great. And when they're running through the woods and they're, in those confined spaces as well, it sort of adds a little bit more. But ultimately, it's sort of the same way I felt about the picture, where if you have the Blu-ray with that newly remastered picture and audio, 7.1 audio going up to Atmos, it's not a massive difference. It's just not a huge upgrade. But again, if you're a stickler, if you want the best, the Dolby Atmos sounds great. I'm sure it has better moments than the 7.1. It sounds like they mixed it pretty well. Dialogue was very clear. Sound effects were great, but to the average person, is anything going to be noticeable between the two? Probably not. Now, the packaging on this could be a big reason to buy. While there was some cool packaging before, Turbine Media has really outdone themselves with the packaging for this release. There are 4 different slip covers with a steelbook inside and a booklet. So you can see here the 4 different options, and I had, I believe it's option C is what they were calling it, but I had a little bit of a different slip cover than some others you might see online. They have the original poster art. They have some other cool newly commissioned artwork, and unfortunately my slip cover got a little dinged up on its trip over from Germany. That's part of the fallback of ordering international. Who knows what these things go through on their way over. But the steelbook was in great shape, and you can see here it's pretty cool. It has some nice artwork, pretty basic on the back. And then when you pop open the inside, you've got some more artwork as well as some disc art. So 4K disc here, Blu-ray disc, and the bonus disc is underneath it. When I got this, it was interesting. The Blu-ray disc was actually stacked upside down on top of the 4K. So I moved it over here and stacked it with the bonus disc. You'll probably want to do the same. This set also comes with a booklet called the Texas Chain Saw Massacre Legacy. It covers all of the movies, including the new 2022 Netflix movie, which I didn't love, but it goes through all of them, TCM2, TCM3, Leatherface, every iteration. Problem is, being from Germany, it's completely in German, so I can't read it, but I will say it has some pretty cool pictures, artwork like this. It's got some cool pictures, but I don't speak German, I can't read German, so that part of it's no good for me. So overall, I think it is a pretty good release if you're a horror movie fan. I know some people have already told me they've imported theirs. A few of you have purchased this from Turbine Media. It is a very well done 4K restoration and 4K transfer. The new Dolby Vision adds a little bit. New Dolby Atmos is always a plus. So they've really taken it probably as far as you can take Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This has to be the peak. And if this is the peak, the Blu-ray release was maybe 2 steps below the peak. If you're putting the flag on the top of Mount Everest, the Blu-ray was the next guy up. It's that close, and they're both very, very good. So I would recommend one of the two, but obviously the packaging and some of the special stuff that goes with the German release could appeal to you. The Steelbook may appeal to the collector in you, but the special features on this actually have most of what's ported over from previous releases. So there's the 4 audio commentaries with Toby Hooper, with Gunnar Hansen. There's behind the scenes trailer TV spots, a bunch of different interviews and things like that. A lot of the same content on this release that's on this release. So that part's good. They didn't short you on any of that. And it also has Dolby Atmos German tracks as well as English. So if you are in Germany, you can pick this up with Dolby Atmos in your language. So I think this one's going to come down to your preferences as a collector and your level of need for the best quality, because either of these are very good purchases. I think you need one of them in your collection. And if you want to go top of the line, top notch, it's never going to get much better than this. Now, there is also another release that's supposed to be coming from Second Sight, which is in the UK. That's supposed to hit sometime in 2022, so if you want to hold out for that, that may be a little bit more accessible than the Turbine Media one coming from Germany, depending on where you are. I've had luck getting Second Sight stuff sent to me quicker because they're a little bit closer, being on the East Coast in the UK, but totally up to you again and your preferences. Still to be seen what that Second Sight release brings. But I have a feeling it's probably going to bring the same transfer here because, again, you can't get much better than what they did in 2014, and mixing in a little bit of Dolby Vision and some Dolby Atmos doesn't dramatically change things much. So I have a feeling Second Sight isn't going to reinvent the wheel, and they're just going to do their own release for the UK. Still TBD if we're going to get an American, United States release or Canadian release. Nothing coming out from North America. So it looks like it's up to the Europeans on this one, and you guys are going to have to import if you want one of these on 4K. It's well worth the money if you want to spend it, but also if you're looking for the greatest release that's available in the US right now, it's going to be this one, the 40th Anniversary Collector's Edition, and there's absolutely no shame in owning that because it is the same great restoration, just lacking the true 4K resolution. So thanks for watching. That's it for the video. I will leave a link to the Turbine Media release down in the description. I'm not partnered with them or anything, but if you want to buy theirs, get them now while they're lasting. There's about $5.50 of each. And then I will leave an Amazon link to the 40th anniversary in the US, which you can purchase. And if you buy that, that helps support my channel. Both great. Can't go wrong with either one, and I highly recommend them both. Other than that, make sure you check out all the other links down in the description. My social media links are down there, lots of other partners and sponsors of the channel, and you can become a YouTube member, which helps support my channel passively. And as always, make sure you subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends, share it online. That helps grow the channel, helps grow the community, and I appreciate all of it. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll talk to you all soon.